how can we link the creation of the buildings with learning from nature? How can we learn from nature? How can we be inspired by flower? How can we have a building that takes all of its energy from renewable resources like the flower?
This is the Regenerative Real Estate Podcast. Revitalizing the world together. Hey everybody, this is Neil Collins. I am the host of the Regenerative Real Estate Podcast. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. I just got off of such a great and really soul enriching call with our guest today. It is a young architect out of Cairo, Egypt, named Amira Ayoub. And what I love about this, and I hope that you have picked up on this if you have already tuned into previous episodes, is that this is not your typical real estate show. I am not trying to sell you your dream house, or if you're a real estate agent, I'm not trying to sell you on the concept of how you can go out and make $1 million as a brand new real estate agent and just crush it so that you can go buy a Lamborghini and a mansion. That is not my purpose. You know, the reason why I wanted to reach out to Amira is she has such an incredible background. And I used to do a lot of traveling in my 20s. It started with the Peace Corps, and then I went to Indonesia, and then our graduate school that I met my partner, Alyssa, at. It was very much focused on international development, and that led us to do work in South Asia, in India, Bangladesh, Maldives. And it was through these experiences that we really got to experience culture firsthand. And culture looks so different. It looks like the food that you eat, the language that shapes the perception and the environment, the buildings themselves, the materials, the nature. And one thing that has resounded throughout our travels across the globe is that people care about their health and well-being and that of their children in the future. And that's the message that we're really trying to get across here, is that we're talking about regeneration. And we happen to be in a point that we need to understand where we at, that we are so far living in a shadow of what could be, that we really need to take it upon ourselves to ask these generative questions to say, okay, where do we need to head? What could be in the future? And we have to be brave enough to raise up our hands and say, this is not the reality that we need to inspire for our children, that we can actually do better. And Amira is one of those architects that does just that. I have to read you her bio. It is a little bit lengthy, but it is well worth it to understand her credentials and where she's coming from, because Cairo is no easy environment to be talking about not just sustainability and energy retrofits and things like that, but to really go past that and to infuse in a regenerative mindset to how can we thrive? How can we overcome these huge problems? And they have such an interesting culture that is so dated. Not dated is probably not the right word, but it is seeped in such a long history of civilization that they have just layered and layered and layered their built environment on top of each other. But Amira, she is passionate about changing the world and creating a resilient future for her kids and future generations, raising awareness about global climate change issues by connecting people to nature, education, and designing pilot projects is what she's currently working on. She's an architect, a sustainability consultant, a United States Green Building Council lead and WELL faculty, and she's an experienced educator with really strong backgrounds in lead and professional education with more than 13 years experience, where she holds credentials in lead, in WELL, and she's also a Living Future accredited ambassador, as am I. She started the IFLI, the International Living Future Cairo Collaborative, and has really started to see that grow. She's volunteering with Egypt Green Building Council and is a sustainability consultant and assessor. She was nominated by a committee with the UN with 100 other visionary thinkers and interdisciplinary thought leaders from around the world to join the Resilience Frontier initiatives. So you can see that her resume just speaks for itself. She is the architect that's registered the first living building and as well as the first Fitwel building in the greater Middle East region. And I can't even imagine, I'm recording this now in Portland, Oregon. That is a very progressive place. If you want to talk about green building, you can go find somebody that really gets it. And you don't have to talk to too many people before you find somebody that really understands what the need is and what we're talking about. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to expose myself and this audience that's tuning into this podcast of what's going on around the globe, because this is not a singular movement. This is truly a global phenomenon, and it's not just a coincidence. It is a response to what has happened, because for every action there is a reaction. So for all the destruction that has taken place, what we are witnessing is truly a rising of consciousness of people that are saying we need to enact change, and we need to enact change now. So without further ado, I look forward to introducing Amira Ayoub to you. And please bear in mind, we are dialing in from across an ocean, and internet connection sometimes isn't the best. Technology is amazing to facilitate it, but still not quite the professional studio quality that we would get if she was in LA and I was in Portland, or if we were in the same recording studio. That would be amazing. I hope one day that I will be able to sit down face to face and go really in depth with Amira. So with that preface of please forgive the technical difficulties, I know that you're going to love this episode. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. We have Amira Ayoub on, and I'm so glad that we took the opportunity to find a time that works, because this is her weekend night. But Amira, where in the world are you? Because you're somewhere not used where our other guests have traditionally been from.
Well, hello, Neil. First of all, hello. I'm so happy to be here with you tonight and today for you. I'm here in Egypt. I'm based in Egypt, in Cairo, and it is 7 p.m. here in Cairo.
Amira, you're our first guest from the Middle East. Like, we've had people on from the US and Canada and the UK, but I've got to tell you, like, your resume is so impressive that whenever I came across your name, I said, God, I've really got to reach out, and there's got to be a story behind what she does and why she does it. So where did you grow up in Egypt? Let's start from there.
Well, I grew up in Egypt, in Cairo. From day one, I was born in Cairo, the first 3 years of my life, I stayed with my grandma. I was at my grandma's house with my parents, and I believe that being with my grandma, it was a very inspiring time for me, because her bedtime story was always about making a positive difference in life, making a better quality of life for people, helping others. So I believe that her night stories, her bedtime stories helped me a lot to always have this feeling and passion for making something good. Um, so this is how the story started.
And where did you go from there? I mean, Cairo, I think of a big city, and it kind of crazy. I've never been to Egypt, but I've had many friends that have been, and it doesn't necessarily inspire images of sustainability or regeneration. Um, did you know that you're going to be an architect from a young age?
No, I wasn't planning to become an architect. Actually, I joined the Faculty of Engineering, and I was planning to become to join the Department of Computer Science. Then I just I just it just it was just then I felt that I really need to think about what I'm going to do in my life. And I realized that I really like to do something and see it coming alive. So I felt that creating buildings will help me um, feel that feeling a lot. So I decided to join the architectural department at the Ain Shams University in Egypt. And actually, I spent an amazing 4 years of knowing architecture. It was a very inspiring journey, and I met a lot of wonderful people who really taught me a lot with very inspiring friends. I feel that I was lucky to be in this department at that time.
What kind of buildings and architecture did you study and think that you were going to end up practicing?
During my college, I have never heard about or I never understood the real meaning of sustainability. It was like 15 or 16 years ago, so it wasn't a well-known word here in Egypt. The sustainable design, sustainable architecture, but it was about creating different or creative buildings with different forms, and how can we create a different user experience. So mainly this was all about, the 4 years was all about this, how to get outside the box, because Egypt, when you come here, you will find that we're living in boxes. So how can we get outside the box and try to imagine buildings in different ways? So it was like a transition state from just getting used to the normal uh, um, um, image of buildings in your mindset and try to imagine it in a different way. And after my graduation, I started to join architectural competition, and it required us to renovate a classroom, uh, a real classroom in real school, and start to think of sustainable and innovative ideas to renovate it. And that was the first time I started to read about sustainable design, and it was very inspiring. It made me feel that this is how things should go. This is how we start to think about it. And I felt that I just don't know what is it. I need to read more. Um, and after that, I joined DAR. I'm not sure if you heard about DAR, Al-Handas National Company.
No.
Its head office, one in Egypt and another in Lebanon, and it has several offices worldwide. When I was at DOR, I started to hear about the LEED rating system, and I felt that wow, this is so much linked to sustainability. So I'm so much interested to study about LEED, and I became a LEED Green Associate. After that, I heard about the Living Building Challenge after becoming a lead AP. And this is where I fell in love with sustainability because
And
the
why is
Living
that?
Building Challenge for me, yeah, the Living Building Challenge for me is not just a rating system. Uh, I volunteered with the Isle of I as an ambassador. Since 2015, and I started to spread the words about the Living Building Challenge everywhere in the Middle East. Sometimes people ask me, don't you ever get bored giving the introduction to the Living Building Challenge? I never get bored, and whenever I give this introduction, I feel the same passion, and I feel that I just want to see living buildings everywhere. So for me, this is passion. Living buildings, seeing and or creating living buildings are passion, are my passion right now.
What do you think it was that really captivated you for the Living Building Challenge?
It's philosophy. How can we link the creation of the buildings with learning from nature? How can we learn from nature? How can we be inspired by flower? How can we have a building that takes all of its energy from renewable resources like the flower? How our buildings should be beautiful like a flower? How can we imagine an ideal, and that ideal is our measure of success? How can we ask ourselves, what does good look like? So for me, that this is this is really this is really going so well with my character. I just need to see living buildings. So its philosophy was very inspiring. I just felt that it considers um, a lot of things that matters to human. It's not only targeting building technologies to save water and energy. It cares about human. It cares about health and happiness, equity, beauty. This is something unique, holistic, and I feel that this is how we should build our buildings to consider all this.
Yeah, I love that. And what I'm so intrigued about is this is not just, I take it for granted that I live 3 hours from the International Living Futures headquarters.
Wow.
Many of the architects and the designers and the urban planners, they're easy to reach. I can visit their projects. But Egypt is a very different story. North Africa is something that it's gone through a lot of political unrest in the past couple decades. So what's the reception to sustainability and regenerative thinking in your region? Because I would imagine that not a lot of our listeners are familiar with it, and that's the essence that I'm really trying to get at. That this is not just a U.S. or North America based thing, but it's captivating the attention around the globe.
I think that the perception of sustainability here is just it's in the very beginning phase. People just A lot of people are not aware what is the meaning of sustainability. They are not aware of the strategies the building could help them with. The green buildings are what are the strategies the green building could benefit the people from. So I think that we have a major problem in awareness. So that's why I think that it was very important to start educating everyone about what is the importance of green building and sustainability, and and to have a lot of pilot projects, because pilot project is user experience. When you enter a building and when you feel that it is a beautiful building, and when you feel that you're not no your allergy is no longer there because you have a better indoor environmental quality. uh, so I believe that the user experience also is very important. Here in Egypt, this is far away from what is, unfortunately, this is far away from what is happening. We are still in the very beginning, but I am happy that we started this. We started this movement. I know that we're not moving so fast, but at least we started that. And also the movement of healthy buildings, especially after COVID. You know, I'm so happy that for the last 6 months I registered the first Fitwel building here in Africa, and the first well building standard in the new administrative capital of Egypt. So I think that this is a very big movement. And what is so I feel that I am lucky because the projects like to make a lot of outdoor campaign about the healthy building movements, and a lot of real estate people who are interested in creating other buildings started to ask about what is healthy building, what is it all about, what are the healthy building grading systems. And I think that this is a creation of a movement of something that a lot of people need to know about, and are in need, are in very deep need of, especially after COVID-19. So as I told you, we're just starting the whole thing, but I believe that um, maybe soon we will get there.
How does the development of a healthy building like that, or just development in general in a city like Cairo that it's so old and it's got such deep roots for culture, do you find that it's a culture that's forward looking, or does it still retain its cultural roots?
I believe that what is so inspiring for people is how can we integrate nature in Cairo, because in Cairo we don't have lots of trees, we don't have parks. Uh, um, Unfortunately, it is very polluted. So when we start talking about healthy buildings, how can we connect people to nature? How can we integrate biophilic design in our buildings? A lot of people are so much interested in that. They need to feel that they are so much connected in nature. Um, 3 years ago, I gave an introduction to biophilic design, And I suddenly found that a lot of TV channels wants to interview me to talk about how can the biophilic design make people happier. Because if you are walking in the streets in Cairo, you won't see a smile on people's face. People are so much stressed. And I believe that this is because there is a lack of connection between people and nature. They don't see a lot of nature. In your weekend, if you want to go out and if you want to have fun, you just go to more indoor places like malls, for example. We don't have parks, as I told you. Even the streets, you don't have pedestrian routes, so you can enjoy walking in the street. And if you even found that the quality of the air is very poor, so you're not enjoying your walk. You're just, if you're allergic, you will just start sneezing or or coughing. So it's a very bad experience. So the need of healthy buildings is crucial. This is something that we should all work on. We need to improve the quality of the ambient air around us. We need to create a lot of buildings that help people become more happier, more comfort, buildings that care about their wellness. I think that this is something we really need, and a lot of people need it, but they just don't know how they can make it. Especially that, as I told you, there is a lack of awareness, and also there is a lack of knowledge. We need to know how to make healthy buildings. Not everyone knows that, and even who know it, they just don't want to go and start something new. Not everyone is brave enough to start something that they didn't get used to. So Cairo need healthy building a lot, and if a lot of people just need to feel much happier. If we link this to their happiness that they are in deep need of, I think that this will um, make the movement of green buildings um, become more. It will make it much more faster.
Yeah, I think that's a very important message as we've tried talking about green sustainability of energy performance and getting off of fossil fuels. And at least for our audience, it feels like they're used to that messaging. They understand the need, but they feel like somebody else is going to take care of that. But whenever you can relate it down to their health and well-being and that of their kids and the future generations, something like a light switches. And for me, it took place of my elders had to get very sick in order for me to realize, our built environment can either help us thrive or it can really make us sick or even hold us back in ways that we're not even aware of. So I think that it's such an amazing call to action that you just put out. You started the Egypt Collective with the International Living Future Institute. What are you finding that there is a growing interest amongst architects or the youth or the general population in North Africa for healthy buildings?
Well, in Egypt, a lot of people are so much interested in core. The new program of the Isle of I that was launched in 2019, because core is they find it much more achievable than the Living Building Challenge certification. And recently, a lot of people are studying how they can apply for, and I am happy for this. And I think that it was a very smart move for the ILFI to start thinking about how to become scalable, because we need to see a lot of living buildings, and there's a lot of countries that just need to start creating living buildings. And I think that core is a very good start for us here in the Middle East. And in the Emirates, I think that there is a very big movement for certifying zero energy and zero carbon buildings. And I'm happy for that. There is an MOU between the Isle of I and the Emirates Green Building Council for for the zero energy and zero carbon certificates. And I think that this will help in uh, letting all the investors in the UAE know about the Isle of I programs. And I think that this will be a very good move. As I told you, I think that pilot projects creating the first living building in UAE or Egypt or anywhere in the Middle East will be will create the user experience that will invite everyone to do more, and it will educate everyone that we're in arid climate. There is a living building right there. You can see how much this building saved water, saved energy. Come and visit it. Exactly the same thing the Bullet Center did. No one ever imagined that we would see a building like the Bullet Center. It became a beacon for everyone who's searching for something to inspire him. So I think that this is what we need. When you have pilot projects, it will make the movement go everywhere in the Middle East or in the region.
The projects that you introduced, the Fitwel project, was that a commercial building, residential? What kind of project was it?
It's a multi-use building. It has offices, clinics, and hotel apartments. It's also located at the new administrative capital of Egypt, and it has a lot of it introduced a lot of new features that we're not get used to, like introducing healthy food for people, because in Egypt the healthy food is still something that we're not get used to. How can this building will create a better quality of air? How this building will help in having break areas where people can have outdoor fitness facilities. They can exercise and have fun at the same time. So we start to think about new ideas. How can we integrate all this in one building and invite others to come and enjoy the experience? We're finalizing the design phase, and the construction phase will begin within 3 months.
Who's the developer behind that? Is it government backed or is it private?
No, it is private. It's company. Its name is EG Holding. It's a private company, but it's not government. It's not related to the government.
What's their mission? Is it purely a financial play of they think that they can capture higher rents and like really provide that pilot of, these amenities are a good real estate investment, or are they more mission driven towards promoting regenerative thinking in the built environment? What do you think?
I think it is both, because no one's do something that they don't want get profit out of. So
Right.
I think it is both. But what is so inspiring that they started to think about creating a neighborhood that will be Fitwel certified after this project, and creating another Fitwel building. So they are so much interested in Fitwel now, because they saw how Fitwel changed their whole approach, even for advertising for the building. They are talking, speaking different language. This is a different language on the market, and people, some people came and asked me to work on a well building, because they said that we already have the first pit well in the new capital. We need the first well in the new capital. So I think that it created a movement. It created a question for people to. It raised a question for everyone to know what is it, and we need to know something better than that. So I think it will create a benchmark, even if we are still starting, but it will create a benchmark for everyone to come and do something better. So I think that this will have a positive impact on the future.
Hey everybody, this is Neil. We are going to get back to this great conversation in just 1 second. But I think it's fair to say that right now we are facing some pretty unprecedented challenges in the 21st century. I mean, you name it, environmentally, socially, economically, we've got some big problems that we need to overcome. And that's why, for me personally, and the people that work with us at Latitude, we want to dedicate our time and our energy so that we are not only working to put food on the table and a roof over our heads, but also make the world a better place. And so if you are at all interested in combining your sustainability values with a very powerful financial model of real estate, then I highly encourage you to check out what we are doing at Latitude. We are creating something truly special with a tribe of change agents that for now is working across North America, and hopefully one day in the future, with you coming on board, we can be working across the globe. So please check us out. You can go to www.chooselatitude.com, or you can find us on social media at latitude.realty on Instagram, and we are also on Facebook. Okay, let's get back into it. Amira, I'm curious. You've got such an accomplished resume. Where would you like to take your career from here? We're at the end of 2020 now, recording this. What what next mountain are you looking to climb?
The buildings I'm working on right now, I am considering them as my babies. So I want to see them alive. I want to see them there. I want to see everyone come and visit them and spend a very good time in these buildings. So maybe all I am worrying about right now is that I just want to jump this movement. I just want to see these buildings alive. And after that, I think that I will start. I want to discover new opportunities in different regions. I want to work with a team and learn from each other and work collaboratively with each other. And I'm missing this part. I'm working by my own. At the same time, I want to do something for my country. I want to create something from the things I've learned and leave people create more out of it. But at the same time, I just need to have a better quality of life for my kids. I just can't stay here just to pursue my dreams while I don't think about their childhood and their everything. I just need a better life for them. So I don't think that I will stay here for long, but I don't have a clear plan. I'm not sure if I share this with the audience. So this question is, I'm not sure if I can answer it.
Look, I think that it takes a lot of bravery to say that you're wanting a better future for your kids, and a healthier future and a brighter future. And I think that it deeply resonates with every single parent in the world that can understand that. And especially during a time of such uncertainty around the globe, with COVID, with politics, with the economy, you realize that 99% of the entire population is just, it almost feels like they're brainwashed, or
Yeah.
maybe they've been eating terrible food and breathing unhealthy air for so long that we're just in a chemical fog. It's a joke that I have with my wife, but it almost feels like it's true, that like what we're talking about is so counterculture to people, that they're just in the rat race, and they can't, like, you just want to shake them to wake people up. So I can empathize with what you're talking about. I very much enjoyed this conversation, Amira. I think what you're doing is amazing. I can't even begin to tell you how courageous I think it is to speak up about something that you're really passionate about, especially in an environment that can work against you, and it can be quite difficult, especially in a very large city like Cairo. And I wish you all the best. I really do. Okay, everybody, that is a wrap. This is another just great episode that I'm so glad that you're able to tune in. And thank you for being interested in regenerative real estate. What we are trying to do is help people and planet thrive together by using the built environment as a catalyst. And so I've got a couple big asks for you. Number one is, can you please go to wherever you're listening to this podcast, leave us a rating and review. Those actually go so far. And since this is such a passion project for us, we really want to be able to attract the best thought leaders from around the world. Second is that if you really like the content that we're putting out, you can find us on our own Medium publication called Regenerative Real Estate. We also have a very active community on Facebook, which is called Regenerative Real Estate and Design, which you can request to be a part of, and we would love to have you. And third, this goes to what we do every single day, helping buyers and sellers demystify sustainability by working with people that want to either buy a property and are trying to figure out the financing of, how do I actually live out my values? How do I put that water catchment system on there? Or how do I go finance a solar panel PV array? Or maybe I want to live closer to nature. And what are the properties that are out there that I can do that? And so we represent buyers like that. We also happen to represent sellers that maybe they've already invested in sustainable features. Maybe they have a living building or a LEED certified project. We want to help tell that story. So much of what goes on in the real estate industry is transactional thinking at best, and it translates down into agents just really don't know anything about sustainability. And for us, we think that the value is there, and we want to help highlight really the intrinsic value of it, not just the bedrooms and the baths and the square feet of what typical marketing goes on. So if you know of anybody that wants to buy or sell these kinds of properties that we're talking about, please reach out to us at Latitude, and be sure to subscribe for another great episode coming up next week.